Hi, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. As you can tell, sunlight, I'm not doing this in the early morning. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon. So here we go. Blood sugar currently is at 6. It's bringing lower parts all day, so we're pretty happy with that. Just insulin, haven't had any corrections. So it's control trying to break out. Okay, current blood sugar, our current time in range is 97%, 3% within or below, nothing above, and this was from today. Average sugar is at 7.2. Pretty good. Today I want to talk, just got to check. I want to talk to you about how quickly DKA can come on. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Okay, DKA. DKA is one of the quickest, and it's not really a complication, but a side ailment of type 1 diabetes. You don't take care of when you start going high, it can very easily turn into DKA. Now, it was always seemed to be so much easier when we were on injections all the time, because you had a long-acting insulin, so that if you missed a dose, it wasn't going to be the end of the world. But nowadays, with our good friend Mr. Pump, if your cord gets disconnected or your catheter gets kinked, you're not going to get any insulin, and it moves quickly. You could be within DKA in about 4 hours. We all know what the symptoms are of DKA, because most type 1 diabetics have lived through it. Usually when we're diagnosed, we are in a DKA. You're thirsty. you're urinating a lot. All the high blood sugars are just more intense. The worst thing is you start to vomit. And when you start to vomit, oh, that's that's the worst. You feel like you had just got beat up. So, how do we stop this? Well, first, don't forget insulin. If you're taking shots or on a pen, don't forget that you need to take your insulin. 2, if you're on the pump, don't forget to type in your carbs. Anything you do to keep your blood sugar at a normal rate will decrease the chances of DKA. Now, DKA can also happen at lower blood sugars. It's not really identified, it's kind of like out there. But when you're on a pump and dealing with quick-acting insulin, if you're not getting the quick-acting insulin, you're going to start having problems quickly. Now, when you get sick, you have your fight or flight reflexes all in you. And it signals the liver to release sugar. And so it increases the amount of sugar. You never really sort of realize how quickly that can happen. So if you're not feeling well for anything, whether it could be a cold, the flu, any other stress of the body, if you're fighting an infection, take your blood sugars. If you start vomiting for no apparent reason, when I first kind of asked, how do I know if I'm going to be heading to DKA again? Is there any sort of early warning signs? And they said, well, you should be testing for ketones. Back then, there was a little white pill. You put a drop of urine on it, and the higher the ketone level, the darker. And I used to get some very purpley. So I got sick. I would end up in DKA. I'd fight it off, and then all of a sudden, everything just came at me. And the next thing I know, I was on my way to the hospital. That's what happened to me late last year. For whatever reason, my glucose levels shot up. And we started the only known treatment was to get my blood sugars down by using insulin. Insulin will stop your body from producing ketones, which causes all the problems. And we fought it off, and then one day, I guess my body said, hey, I'm tired of fighting this guy. You're gonna do something. So I got sick. I ended up going into the hospital. And I went into our local hospital here, into emergency. And I kind of had read about, I'm a nerd this way, about hospitals around. And I went into Mission Memorial Hospital's emergency room. Check my past videos and find it. It's a worthwhile watch. one day learn how to put the little symbol things up here, but we'll do that. It was sort of the best treatment I have ever received. But the whole thing we're discussing today is how quickly DKA can come on. You could be feeling really bad with a bad cold and you start to say, hey, you know what? I'm starting to feel worse. Well, test your ketone either by urine or if you have a ketone meter, do the ketone test. Always be certain that you identify it. Contact your doctor if you're showing ketones, or if you have a plan, go into your sick day plan. We all should have a sick day plan. Pure and simple. In my last visit with my endo, just a couple of days ago, we talked about this. This said, I want a plan so that I can prepare if I'm sick. I know what's going to happen. It's awesome. And hopefully I won't end up over in that hospital. It was a journey. For me, how do I respond? DKA, I really start being sick. And your mouth gets so dry. Take you being thirsty times it like 500%. And when you're low, you're just craving sugar. When you're high in DKA, you just want liquid. Your body's saying, hey, we have to get rid of the sugar now. It can take a while for DKA to clear. And I know a lot of you are going to be looking at me and saying, well, you know what? DKA cleared up quickly for me. I have a habit, or my body has a habit, of coming out of DKA quickly with IV insulin. You know, they get me off it and get me trying to get back into the pump life or into less dose, and I just head straight back into DKA. It usually takes 2 rounds. I don't know if my body fully isn't done with the DKA, even though all the indicators is showing this. It's quite difficult because a lot of times they will say, oh, there's something wrong with your pump, because they can't solve the issue right away. And you know what? I guess if I was a doctor, I'd kind of be the exact same way. But no one listens. And the one thing that really annoys me is they don't talk to you. Your job is to just lie there and get better. The nurse will come and speak to you, but the medical team, when they threatened to put me on shots, I said, no, I'm not going to shots. I actually phoned the pump company and got this ready to go. Got a new pump in, and they took care of it for me. I don't blame the doctor. DKA, I should have responded. I didn't. I don't know why I go low sometimes. I don't know why I very quickly end up into DKA. But make sure you have a plan if you find you're in DKA. My diabetic nurse at one time, and check this out with your doctor, said that if you're vomiting, you should end up going to the hospital. I did that once. It was there for 9 months. Labile diabetic. It's important that you get the treatment. Your doctor will first probably try to, at home, have you increase your dose of insulin. And if that doesn't work, there's something else going on. I think basically it's the absorption. Sometimes I absorb quickly, other times I don't. So, but we have hypoglycemia, which we talked a huge amount. We've talked about DKA before on this channel. I just wanted to revisit it and say, take care of yourself. If you find yourself being sick without really a fever, you could still have a fever if you have an infection or something. Get to the hospital, get checked out. If you are in DKA, you could be in the hospital for at least a couple of days. Most people, the longest is a week. I was a complete different. Don't wage against me. But make sure you get your DKA treated. Now, if you have forgotten to take your insulin, let's say you ran out of the house and you forgot to bring your pump with you, you're going to have to go home pretty quickly and get some insulin, or get to the drugstore to get some insulin so that you can bring down the blood sugars. Don't try to do stupid things like somebody did, trying to work a whole shift, because it won't work out. You'll end up in worse condition. Remember, the only cure for DKA is insulin. You have a need for insulin. Your body regime is asking for more insulin. So follow the game plan. Don't play around with DKA. It could end up killing you. Pure and simple. But if you take control of it quickly and get the help you need, things will work out the best for you. And with that, have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.